70 times 7. Oh, where have we heard that before? Most people know in the book of Daniel that God gives them the 77s of the years of weeks, if you will. But most Christians, even though Daniel was written first, most Christians understand Matthew chapter 18, verses 21 onward, of Jesus talking about forgiveness. Well, how does that apply to Daniel? I'm going to pique your interest here. It is interesting to note that when Peter comes to Jesus, he says to him, hey, how much should we forgive? 7 times in a day? And Jesus had just done a whole big teaching on how to not be judgmental, how to forgive, who to forgive, and when and why. And he covered a lot of territory. So Peter then asks, so when can I basically drop the ball? Like after 7 times they sin against me, I can just dismiss them? And Jesus says the famous words, I tell you, not 7 times, but 70 times 7 times. Meaning, keep always forgiving. Now we learn that, many preachers preach on that when they're in Matthew 18, but nobody actually makes a bit of the connection to Daniel chapter 9 and the 77s there. The 77s in Daniel is about God bringing about restoration and establishing forgiveness in his people by bringing about the King, Jesus Christ. So I find that interesting that there's this correlation of forgiveness that is wrapped up in Daniel's prophecy with the 77s that Jesus, I don't know if Jesus had that in mind when he said it, but it's awful suspicious to me. I hope it piques your interest too. So it is interesting to note that because Jesus came with unlimited forgiveness way back in the book of Daniel and prophesied about it all the way to the end, that we too should be forgiving the same way that we have been forgiven by Christ. He then goes on to the parable of the unmerciful servant and saying that anybody who does not forgive, he equated it with someone who was owed a bunch of money and that person forgave that person, and then they went and nickeled and dimed and persecuted somebody else who owed them just a little bit. In the same way, we have been forgiven so much by God that it is literally ridiculous and anti-Christ thinking for us to not forgive somebody immediately. So I hope this helps to understand the power of forgiveness and that Jesus prophesied about it long ago. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you. Have a great day.